Lord Krishna says in the Gita, Janaka, the great king, and others attain perfection verily by action only. Even with a view to the protection of the masses, thou should perform action. Samadhi is moksha, perfection or liberation. Janaka and others had perfect knowledge of the self, and yet they performed actions in order to set an example to the masses. They worked for the guidance of man. As you can see, the time to start attaining harmony is truly now. Exemplary action must be taken, for the world has never been in such a state. When I was at the yoga retreat in Nassau, Bahamas, I received a vision during meditation. The vision was to start a movement to train political leaders in the yogic manner to lead humanity on the path towards this brotherhood. At first I questioned this vision. Could something like this really come about? However, my questioning was soon dispelled, for the vision kept occurring until I could no longer ignore it. Shortly thereafter, I returned to the yoga camp headquarters in Walmoran, Quebec province, and have started the True World Organization, TWO, Unity in Diversity.
Man is searching for peace, but this peace will never come to the people when they follow leaders who are impure and selfish. Peace in the world depends upon the leaders of the world, but most of our present leaders do not themselves have that inner peace, which comes only through self-mastery. The Bhagavad Gita, the ancient scripture of yoga, says, "Whatsoever a great man does, that other men also do." Whatever he sets up as the standard, the world, mankind follows. Man is a social animal. He is an imitating animal too. He takes his ideas of right and wrong from those whom he regards as his moral superiors. Whatever a great man follows, the same is considered as an authority by his followers. They try to follow him and endeavor to walk in his footsteps. Leaders who don't have this inner peace can certainly not bring peace to their countrymen or to their brothers of the world. All throughout this age, man has been caught in a web, existing in a state of anxiety, following political and religious leaders who lead them astray. These leaders have preyed upon their followers to fulfill their own needs for power and greed. In so doing, they have led man away from his inner peace and enlightenment. It has been truly a state of the spiritually blind leading the blind. Man's present state is to divide and rule. For this he has to wage war. War is not only going on in Vietnam and the Middle East. It is waged every day in every country, in every city, in every home and family, and in the heart of every man. Stop one war, and man will find another, because he still possesses the fighting instinct. If you support one party, you are naturally waging war with another party. Therefore, war cannot be stopped by so-called politicians. It does not matter how much they talk of peace and want peace, because they themselves are slaves to their habits. No one is a true hawk or a true dove. A dove changes into a hawk when his position and power are threatened, or his freedom and life of his family is at stake. Therefore, true leaders of the future are not attached to the family and entangled in family obligations, but are interested in the true welfare of the whole of humanity and identify the world as family. Family ties prevent one from devoting all his energies for the good of humanity, even though one would like to do so. This new type of leader has to sacrifice his personal life for the sake of his followers and for humanity. Then alone can we find peace in the world. To find such selfless leaders is very difficult, not because they are very rare, but because they are leaders whom the vast majority do not know. Moreover, true people find it extremely hard to work with the people of the world who prefer external appearance to the truth.
It's in a dream, waits at the window, wearing the face that she keeps in a jar by the door. Who is it for? All the lonely people. Where do they all come from? All the lonely people. Where do they all belong? Father Mackenzie, writing the words of the sermon that no one will hear. No one can hear. Look at him working, darning his socks in the night when there's nobody there. Does he care? All the lonely people. Where do they all come from? All the lonely people. Where do they all belong? Look at all the lonely people. Look at all the lonely people. Eleanor Gracie died in the church and was buried along with her name. Nobody came. Father Mackenzie, wiping the dirt from his hands as he walked from the grave. No one was saved. All the lonely people. Where do they all come from?
At present, if a leader wants followers, he must cash in on the weakness of his followers. Most of our present leaders are not truly interested in the welfare of humanity because they are tied to a particular type or group of people. This will not bring world peace. Thus they divide and rule the world, and hence there is war. Political leaders past and present have said and acted as though the power were within the barrel of the gun. But the yogic response to this is that by relying on the gun barrel for power, you'll one day find that it turns upon you, for the only real power is that which is within the self. True yoga and Vedanta philosophy can help solve this problem. Many so-called religious and spiritual leaders come along from time to time and promise instant God realization within a very short time, with very little work that has to be done on the part of the aspirant. This, of course, is false yoga. There is no easy road to spiritual realization, and the yoga aspirant has to work very hard in order to make real progress and attain self-mastery. True yoga is practiced when the aspirant disciplines his body and mind. Yogic discipline is based upon 5 requirements: proper exercise, proper breathing, proper relaxation, proper food, and positive thinking and meditation. Proper exercise is attained by doing the asanas, which help make the body a perfect instrument and a clean house for the spirit to live in. The first of these asanas is the sun exercise. This is called the sun exercise because it is practiced in the early morning facing the sun. The sun is considered to be the source for health and long life. This exercise is a combined process of yoga asanas and breathing. It reduces abdominal fat, brings flexibility to the spine and limbs, and increases breathing capacity. Before students practice the more complicated and difficult postures, the spine should acquire some flexibility. For a stiff person, the sun exercise is a boon to bring back this lost flexibility. There are 12 spinal positions, each stretching various ligaments and giving different movements to the vertebral column. The vertebral column is bent forward and backward alternately with deep breathing. Whenever the body is bent forward, the contraction of the abdomen and diaphragm throws out the breath. When the body bends backward, the chest expands and deep breathing occurs automatically. This way, flexibility is increased and breathing is corrected. Moreover, it mildly exercises the legs and arms, thus increasing circulation. In between asanas, the student relaxes and deep breathes. The muscles have worked hard in the previous exercise and need to be recharged. By relaxing and deep breathing, carbon dioxide is released from the muscles and exhaled, and oxygen is brought into the body. Prana, or energy, is then released in the body and travels along motor nerves, reaching the muscles and enabling them to recharge. The next exercise is the headstand position. In this posture, pure blood flows into the brain. This rejuvenates the brain cells so that thinking power increases and thoughts become clearer. This asana is a tonic for people whose brains tire quickly. It ensures a proper blood supply to the pituitary and pineal glands in the brain, and our growth, health, and vitality depend upon the proper functioning of these two glands. People suffering from loss of sleep, memory, and vitality have recovered by the regular and correct practice of this asana and have become fountains of energy. The lungs gain the power to resist any climate and stand up to any work. It gives rest for the heart, abdominal organs, increases good eyesight, and is an all-around bodybuilder. Regular practice of the headstand develops the body, disciplines the mind, and widens the horizons of the spirit. One becomes balanced and self-reliant in pain as well as pleasure. Some of the headstand variations are leg exercises. Front and back movements of the legs develop the leg muscles and tone the kidney, bladder, prostate, and intestines. This asana strengthens the neck and also the abdominal walls. The abdominal organs are contracted and made to function well. In the leg spread variation, the muscles of the thigh and legs, which are used for walking and standing, are given maximum stretching. Finally, from the headstand, the advanced student is able to go into the scorpion. This asana gives maximum bending to the spine and imparts balance and harmony to the entire system. It should be practiced only after acquiring maximum proficiency in the headstand. Along with the spine and ligaments, this exercise stretches almost every muscle of the body and increases circulation to every part, including the brain. As this pose is a difficult one, it takes a long time to achieve mastery over it. At the end of all the asanas, the student totally relaxes every muscle, organ, and cell through mental commands. Remaining perfectly still and concentrating on each part of the body, the student is able to recharge each section individually by mentally commanding them to relax. 5 or 10 minutes of complete relaxation ensures increased strength to the body and relieves all tension. One must remember that all these asanas are not mere calisthenics, but scientifically designed for increased strength in physical and mental control. In addition to the asanas and relaxation, proper breathing is a fundamental requirement of yogic discipline. Breathing exercise in yoga is called pranayama, which is the controlling of the subtle energy in the body. When this prana, or energy, is controlled, then all of the gross manifestations of the whole body will be under our control also. Also, diseases of the body can be destroyed from the root by controlling and regulating this prana. If our bodies are strong and healthy with pranic energy, we will have the natural tendency to produce health and vitality in those who live near us, because this energy of our body will be, as it were, conveyed to other bodies just as water flows from a higher level of concentration to a lower one. Whenever there is motion in life, behind it is the storehouse of pranic energy. The student using the method of pranayama is able to absorb the energy from the infinite mass and use this energy for his spiritual growth. Pranayama teaches men how to intensify the power of assimilation of this great energy and thereby advance quickly, instead of progressing more slowly with the average of the human race. This control of prana, besides giving the student control of his body, has a profound effect on the nervous system and will manifest itself in the mind by bringing greater concentration and mental control. The first and most basic technique in pranayama is the deep breathing. By using this technique, breathing is done by the student sitting very erect, spine straight, and breathing with the diaphragm. This allows the maximum amount of air to the lungs, and thereby getting rid of all the stale air and toxins in the body. Another technique is called alternate breathing. In this breathing, the student inhales through the left nostril while the right one is blocked. Then there is a retention of breath. Both nostrils are blocked for a period of 4 times as long as the inhalation. Then there is an exhalation through the right nostril for a period of 2 times as long as the inhalation. For example, inhale for 5 seconds, Retain for 20 seconds, and exhale for 10 seconds. This exercise purifies the nadis, or nerves in the body, and improves the normal breathing. About 10 or 15 rounds of alternate breathing should be done each day. One more technique in yogic breathing is called Kapalabhati. The student here inhales normally and exhales forcefully. This inhalation and forceful exhalation are done with the diaphragm. This asana is the best to increase the amount of oxygen in the system, increase prana in the nervous system, and to increase breath control and lung capacity. Besides pranayama bringing us vitality and energy, man's diet is of the utmost importance in relation to his mind and body. The yogic diet is a vegetarian one. The body needs basically 4 elements derived from foodstuffs. These are protein, carbohydrates, fat, and minerals. These elements are found in better proportions in vegetables rather than animal tissues. Nuts, beans, peas, milk, and cheese contain a large percentage of protein, whereas wheat, oats, rice, and potatoes, as well as other grains, contain the carbohydrates or starches and sugar. Nearly all the protein foods and vegetable oils furnish fats, while valuable organic mineral elements are found in fruits as well as vegetables. One might at this point say, well, what's so bad about meat? Well, it's true that meat does contain protein, but protein from animal tissue is very hard to digest and does terrible damage to the system. Meat is very gross and fibrous. It also contains large quantities of uric acid, which is a major cause of arthritis and a detriment to the kidneys that have to work overtime to excrete this acid from the body. Biologically, meat is unhealthy. However, it goes further than being just a physical detriment. Meat also affects the mind of man. It is said that we are very much of what we eat. If a man is carnivorous, then he will have a carnivorous mind, which produces such qualities as lust, greed, and aggression, which are just 3 reasons why the world is in the state that it's in. Man's diet is definitely a contributing factor to his mental and physical health. The 5th yogic discipline is that of positive thinking and meditation. In order for people to have inner peace, which lead to peace in the physical world, man must think positively and meditate. Through yogic asanas, breathing, relaxation, and diet, the body and mind are made fine instruments that are in control. Paralleling this control comes the ability to think positively and be free of negative thoughts. The ordinary man, including present-day leaders, don't have this control and therefore can't keep away negative thoughts, which lead to passion and desire, which in turn leads to war. In order to perpetuate positive thought and inner peace, the student must meditate. This is the hardest and most rewarding practice in yoga. Basically, meditation is concentration or a one-pointedness of mind, where all distracting thoughts are eliminated, and eventually there is a union with the One, wherein peace and bliss then ensue. However, the mind is like an impish child. It is constantly wandering and getting distracted. Meditation trains the mind and gets it into focus, where all the energy is concentrated, and where true reality lies. Meditation will invariably lead to truth. Yoga hastens our process of evolution if we are true to ourselves. If a number of Bushmen were brought to a civilized society and given a proper education, their progress could be hastened, even though their brothers in the bush country remain living in the same savage way. We cannot put a limit to this hastening or say how much a man can grow in a lifetime. A perfect man, the type that is to come of this race millions of years hence, can come today. Such men are prophets and incarnations of those who have achieved perfection. Recently there were such men. Jesus Christ, Lord Krishna, Buddha, Mahatma Gandhi, our Master Swami Shivananda, and others. This hastening process is achieved by developing our higher mind, a fine part of force. One could easily become a psychologist or a philosopher, but to study one's own mind and to develop one's own mental powers are only for those who are determined to curb the lower instinctive mind. From the higher mind comes all the knowledge of the unknown, and this is the source from which the seer obtains his vision and the prophet his foresight. The scientific knowledge that intellect gets comes from association with the higher mind. Many have concentrated themselves on high ideals in their work and heard their higher mind speaking to them. Man, by the development of his spiritual consciousness, may bring himself into contact with this higher nature. Many thus become possessed with a knowledge of which the intellect has not dared to dream. Intuition is the direct perception or immediate knowledge of that which comes from the higher mind. There is no reasoning process whatsoever. Intuition transcends reason, but does not contradict it. Intellect takes a man to the door of intuition and returns to wait for answers that reason is unable to find. It passes down to the intellect certain truths which it finds in its own regions of the mind, and in return, the intellect reasons about them. But these answers do not originate with the intellect, for the intellect is cold, whereas the higher mind is warm and alive, with feeling, love, and compassion. As man unfolds spiritually and the higher mind develops, he feels his relationship to all mankind and begins to love his fellow man more and more. It hurts to see others suffering, and when it hurts him enough, he tries to do something to remedy it. Yogic discipline combined with leadership is truly the remedy for worldwide suffering. Our present political leaders and those interested in a united world may come to receive training in the subtropical yoga retreat in Nassau, Bahamas, and in the Shivananda Yoga Vedanta headquarters in Valmorin, Quebec, Canada. Both are founded by Swami Vishnu. At the headquarters in Valmorin, just 45 miles north of Montreal, exists the natural setting that is needed for yogic discipline and training. The camp is situated on 60 acres of wooded land and gentle slopes in the middle of the Laurentian Mountains. Pure, unpolluted lakes dot the countryside with fresh, cool mountain air, cleaned and purified constantly by deep green forests. This is truly the place where man can feel at peace and at one with himself and the rest of mankind. Besides practicing the 5 yogic disciplines and personal instruction by Swami Vishnu, many other facilities are available.
Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare
The Nassau retreat has the convenience of its warm subtropical climate and its crystal clear waters. On 4 acres of tropical gardens sit the yoga retreat on Paradise Island in Nassau, Bahamas. The private ocean beach on one side and the bay on the other ensures a beautiful crosswind over the retreat. Here at the retreat, the trainees will find a place truly conducive to yogic discipline. They will be taught how to put their yogic discipline into actual life experiences. At the Temple of All Faiths is a bust of our Master Swami Shivananda, a realized sage and saint, who always practiced and taught the truth that all religions are equal to their striving towards God, and that each of these paths leads eventually to the source of creation, the Godhead. As our leaders are trained, they too will come to manifest this inner peace, and people will surely follow such examples of universal peace and love.
Mahatma Gandhi said, "Of the many great men who preached love instead of brute force, come the name of Leo Tolstoy. He said, that Tolstoy gave a realistic presentation on substance underlying the great world religions and has shown as no other teacher has shown how present-day civilization, based as it is on brute force, is a negation of the divinity in man, and how, before man can realize his true manhood, he must substitute by love in all his actions. Once yoga-trained leaders get into positions of higher political responsibility and have the knowledge and training of keeping an inner peace within themselves, and who will not be corrupted by great and selfish desires, then truly will all of mankind be headed on the path of planetary peace. With the world in the stage that it is now, do we really have time to wait? The time for indecision is over. Now is the time to take action. Perhaps you are the leader the world is looking for. Come now and join our yoga movement.
Further inquiries about the True World Organization, which eventually will lead to a united world, should be directed to Shivananda Yoga Ashram Headquarters, 8th Avenue, Val-Morin, Province of Quebec, Canada.
To disaster. One of his disciples spent all lunchtime at Covent Garden upside down to show what a state the Swami says we're all in. It's not a silly form of protest at all, he says.
The world is in topsy-turvy condition, and our leaders are taking us to bring the ultimate destruction of this planet Earth. So we are just demonstrating to draw the attention of the humanity.
But do you actually think anyone will take very much notice?
That's exactly we are trying to show, because many people try to draw the attention of the humanity by violence, by bombing, by terrorists blowing up the houses, etc. But we are trying to show by peace means.
Leotards took the place of the loincloths that the Swami might favor, but these yoga exercises, asani, are the sort of thing he'd like Mrs. Andropov and Reagan take up to curb all aggressive instincts. This weekend, Swami Vishnu plans to risk his own life to show how much he's in earnest about peace. He'll fly this microlight aircraft across the symbolic front of East and West, the Berlin Wall. He plans to land in East Berlin and hand over a symbolic bunch of flowers. It sounds like a suicide mission.
But the danger we have to take anyhow, because the whole world is going to be destroyed. So what one person, if I die, it's not going to make much difference, because they are going to destroy the entire world. Within 20 minutes, in 6 minutes, there will be no Europe left. 20 minutes, the entire planet is gone, 90% of the population.
Do you expect to survive that trip across the border yourself?
If I survive, I'm fine. If I am not survive, because I'm going a little earlier, and you will follow me later on.
People will obviously be entertained by what you're doing, but in the end, don't you think they'll dismiss you as some sort of crank?
Well, that's what, when the people bomb the houses, bomb embassies, and destroy the planes, etc., and bring the bomb, then it's not crazy. When I bring flowers, cross borders with flowers, not with guns, then people call crazy, and then they are crazy. I'm not crazy.
After the London press conference, Swami Vishnu-devananda traveled incognito to Berlin. Warned by both Eastern Bloc and Western authorities that they would be obliged to take serious action against anyone crossing their frontier, Swami Vishnu nevertheless was determined to proceed with the flight. He continued in the face of a grave possibility that he might be shot down. Swamiji wanted to show that the obstacles which separate nations can be overcome with love and flowers rather than with guns and bombs. With this historic flight, He intended to create a symbolic act which would focus attention on the need to overcome all mental, ideological, and religious barriers that divide humankind and separate them from their natural birthright of love. 4 a.m. Under a cover of darkness and dense fog, the small group quickly assembles the ultralight, red and yellow Quicksilver aircraft. A United Press International representative is there as well. He carefully records these events for the world media. It is September 15th, 1983, 7:10 a.m. Swami Vishnu-devananda, at great risk, is at the sky. He has neither passport, visa, nor permission for his flight. What he does have is filled with chrysanthemums, a floral offering which symbolizes his mission as one of peace, a mission of love for the reconciliation of humanity.
विश्वविंजाय शांति शिवानंदाय ते नमः सर्वमंगलमांगल्ये शिवे सर्वार्थसाधिके शरण्ये त्र्यंबके गौरी नारायणी
Swamiji will fly thick fog, navigating by the rising sun which is barely visible. 30 minutes, he will safely land in East Berlin and distribute his cargo of flowers to the astonished East Berliners. There, he will be detained for 4 hours by the authorities. After the flight, a telegram was sent to all the major leaders of the world. Quote, Swami Vishnu-devananda has today successfully flown over the wall from West to East Berlin in a symbolic bid for world peace. By this mission, he has shown that it is only man-made boundaries separate East from West, nation from nation, and man from man. Only when we recognize the unity of mankind will there be any hope of universal peace.
Initiated, please come into the part that has been roped off. Everybody who has not been initiated and is not taking part in the fire walking stays outside of the corded off area.
disturbing. Here at the SYVC Ashram Yoga Camp, a man in a deep trance is being pierced by 108 spears, a ritual for removing negative forces.
The kavadi, it represents the energy pattern of everything. There's an energy pattern, like a pyramid has got an energy pattern, crystals have energy pattern. In fact, everything has got an energy pattern. The particular shape, the kavadi, has got an energy pattern, and when the devotee in India, they carry this, you can see all the one, and the one small one, not so elaborate, and that change the energy pattern of the body. Spears also is a radiation of energy, like a spoke of a wheel. So this from the body, the magnetic paraprana is radiating to all. See, and then especially that avesha comes, the energy of the Supreme Being is radiated through that, like an antenna. Those spears act like antenna, you see, it radiates in all directions.
The spears go into the skin about 1/4 inch deep. They also puncture the cheek and the tongue. The facial punctures bleed somewhat after the spears are removed. It requires complete concentration and considerable preparation.
Several days they fast and observe celibacy and pray, etc. You see, and then they have to worship Subramanya morning and evening. They do worship, and this way the mind is prepared. You see, and then suddenly that they get into kind of energy into their body.
Two researchers studied for the first time body functions during the ritual, brain waves, breathing, and pulse rate using a portable monitor. Data would be analyzed later.
And it allows us to take about 2 or 3 hours record.
It is a high-tech study of what happens to the human body during an ancient practice.
The old spirit and the new technology meets together. Might be it will be for the profit of both.
Howard Schwartz, Pulse News, Van Morin.
Right, spears are jabbed into the skin of a dancer in a ceremony that's meant to dispel evil spirits. Yesterday, the ritual was performed for the first time in North America at a yoga camp north of Montreal. We have a report by Diana Bishop. There are some scenes that you may find disturbing.
The ceremony is as old as the practice of yoga, some 4,000 years. The performer dances with over 100 spears lodged under his skin, and 2 pierced through his tongue and cheek. Yet he appears to be in a trance, unaware of any pain. The yogis say it's a case of mind over matter. The performer's name is Raghupati. He's been practicing the Kavadi ceremony for 10 years, but this is the first time he's the subject of close scrutiny by 2 Czechoslovakian doctors. They've been invited here to study the physical effects of the spears. They begin by gluing electrodes to the scalp. On stage, the ceremony begins. Raghupati collapses in a fit, then recovers. He's ready for the spears. They're more like steel quills, the first punctured through both cheeks. The second is driven through his tongue. Assistants harness a metal cage to this, and through metal strips and certain speeds just break the skin. It takes an hour or so, and by the time they're finished, the metal quills crisscross the subject's back and chest. For the next hour, Raghupati dances through the camp, and it's only now that he appears conscious, his eyes open for the first time. The spears are finally removed, and blood appears. It's quickly covered up with a fine ash. A quick shower and a change of clothes. Raghupati insists he remembers little.
Did you feel anything? Any pain?
Nothing.
A closer examination reveals tiny wounds.
Another row here. Another row here.
And his tongue, harpooned a short while ago, shows only a small mark.
Nothing.
Back in the lab, the doctors are scanning computer read brain waves, heart rate, and respiration. But they find nothing out of the ordinary, and they're surprised at the ceremony. They expected it to be more drastic.
Because I was told that the needles will go through the chest. And they didn't? They didn't, yes. They just go 2 or 3 millimeters under the skin, so it's not so dangerous as I thought.
But this was dramatic enough for members of this yoga camp nestled in the Laurentians. A centuries-old ceremony so out of place here has a mystifying effect. Diana Bishop, CBC News, Valmorin.
नमस्ते रुद्रमन्यवभूतोद इलवे नमः नमस्ते अस्तु धन्वने बाहुभ्यामुतते नमः या तयुषः शिवरमा शिवम् बभूवते धनुः शिवाशरव्या या तव तया नो रुद्रमृडया या ते रुद्रशिवा तनूरघोरा पापकाशी तया नस्तनुभाषन्तमया गिरिशन्तापि चाकशीः यामिषुम् गिरिशन्तहस्ते बिभर्षस्तवे शिवाङ्गिरित्रताम् कुरु माहिगुंसीः पुरुषम् जगत् शिवेन वचसा त्वा गिरिशाख्यावदामसि यथा नः सर्वमिज्जगत यक्षपुम् सुमना असतु अध्यवोचरधिवक्ता प्रथमो दैव्योऽभिषक् अहीवश्च सर्वाण्यम् भयम् सर्वाश्च याबुधान्यः असौ यस्ताम्रो अरुण उत बभ्रुस्सु मङ्गलः ये चेमागुम् रुद्रा अभितो दिक्षुस्थिताः सहस्रशो वैशागुङ्गेडयीमहे असौ यो वसर्पति नीलग्रीवो विलोहितः उतैनम् गोपा अदृशन्नदृशन्नुदहार्यः उतैनम् विश्वाभूतानि स दृष्टो मृडयाजिनः नमो अस्तु नीलग्रीवाय सहस्राक्षाय मेढुषे अथो ये अस्य सत्त्वानोऽहम् तेभ्यो करम् नमः प्रमुञ्च धन्वनत्वमुभयो रात्रियोर्ज्याम् याश्च ते हस्त इषवः पराता भगवो वपा अवसत्य धनुस्त्वगुम् सहस्राक्षसते शुभे निषेद्य शल्यानाम् मुखा शिवो नः स्वमना भवा विद्यम् धनुः कपर्दिनो विशल्यो Arahala Vasu Sachidananda Chidananda Arahala Vasu Sachidananda Chidananda Arahala Vasu Sachidananda Practical way to self-realization. Beloved immortal self, thou art divine. Live up to it. Feel and realize thy divine nature. Thou art the master of your destiny. Do not be discouraged when sorrows, difficulties and tribulations manifest in the daily battle of life. Draw courage and spiritual strength from within. There is a vast inexhaustible magazine of power and knowledge within. Learn the ways to tap the source. Dive deep within. Sink down. Plunge in the sacred waters of immortality. The holy Triveni within. You will be quite refreshed, renovated and vivified when you go to the divine source and realize, I am the immortal self or Atman. Understand the laws of the universe. Move tactfully in this world. Learn the secrets of nature. Try to know the best ways to control the mind. Conquer this mind. Conquest of mind is really conquest of nature and the world. Conquest of mind will enable you to go to the source of soul power. And you can then realize, I am the immortal self or Atman. Do not murmur. Do not grumble when troubles and sorrows descend upon you. Every difficulty is an opportunity for you to develop your will and to grow strong. Welcome it. Difficulties strengthen your will, augment your power of endurance, and turn your mind towards God. Face them with a smile. In your weakness lies your real strength. Thou art invincible. Nothing can harm you. Conquer the difficulties one by one. This is the beginning of a new life, a life of expansion, glory and divine splendor. Aspire and draw, grow, expand, build up all positive, virtuous qualities with Devi Sampati, namely fortitude, patience and courage that are dormant in you. Start a new life, tread the spiritual path and realize, I am the immortal self or Atman. Have a new angle of vision. Arm yourself with determination, cheerfulness, discernment, alacrity, and understanding spirits. A glorious, brilliant future is inviting you. Let the past be buried. You can work miracles. You can do wonders. Do not give up hope. You can destroy the harmful effects of unfavorable planets through your will force. You can command the elements and the nature. You can utilize the effect of evil influences and the antagonistic dark forces that may operate against you. You can change the unfavorable circumstances into best possible ones. You can nullify destiny. Many have done this. You can also do so. Accept. Recognize, claim thy birthright now. Thou art the immortal self or Atman. Determination and self-reliance are very necessary for success in self-realization. In Mundaka Upanishads you will find this Atman cannot be attained by one who is destitute of strength or without earnestness or by penance without mark. But if a wise man strives after it by those means, then his self enters into Brahman. Fearlessness is an important qualification for an aspirant. One should be prepared to renounce this life at any moment. Without renunciation of this little sensual life, the eternal spiritual life cannot be attained. Abhayam comes first in the Devi Sampati or divine qualities that are enumerated in the Gita. A timid man or a coward dies several times before he actually dies. When you have once decided to take the spiritual practices, stick to it tenaciously at any cost, nay, at the risk of your life. Come what may, be bold, stand up. Realize the truth, proclaim it everywhere. Thou art the immortal self or Atman. Destiny is your own creation. You have created your destiny through thoughts and actions. You can undo the same by right thinking and action. Even if there is an evil or a dark antagonistic force to attack you, you can diminish its force by resolutely denying the existence of evil or resolutely turning your mind away from it. Thus, you can disarm destiny. The one thought, I am the immortal self or Atman, will neutralize all evil forces, the evil influences of all malevolent planets, and will infuse in you courage and inner spiritual strength. Wrong thinking is the root cause for human sufferings. Cultivate right thinking and right acting. Work unselfishly in terms of unity with Atma Bhav. This is right action. The right thinking is when you think, I am the immortal self or Atman. There is no such thing as sin. Sin is only a mistake. Sin is a mental creation. The baby soul must commit some mistake during the process of evolution. Mistakes are your best teachers. The idea of sin will be blown in the air if you think, I am the immortal self or Atman. Don't say karma, karma. My karma has brought me like this. Exact. Do purushartha, do tapas, concentrate, purify, meditate. Don't become a fatalist. Don't yield to inertia. Don't bleat like a lamb. Roar, om, 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 like a lion of Vedanta.
आहुरस्य निसङ्गतिः याते हेतिर्मीढुष्टमहस्ते बभूव ते धनुः तयास्मान् विश्वतस्त्वमयक्ष्मया परिभुजा नमस्ते अस्त्वायुधाय नातताय तृष्णवे उभाभ्यामुत ते नमो बाहुभ्यां तव धन्वने परिते धन्वनो हेतिरस्मान् वृणक्तु विश्वतः अधो ययुधिस्तवारे अस्मन्निधेहितम् नमस्ते अस्तु भगवन् विश्वेश्वराय महादेवाय त्रयम्बकाय त्रिपुरान्तकाय त्रिकाग्निकालाय कालाग्निरुद्राय नीलकण्ठाय मृत्युञ्जयाय सर्वेश्वराय सदाशिवाय श्रीमन्महादेवाय नमः नमो हिरण्यबाहवे चेनान्ये दिशां च पतये नमो नमो वृक्षेभ्यो हरिकेशेभ्यः पशूनां पतये नमो नमः सत्पिञ्जराय कृषीमते पथीनां पतये नमो नमो बभ्रुषाय व्याधिनेन्नानां पतये नमो नमो हरिकेशायोपबीजिने पुष्टानां पतये नमो नमो भवस्य हेत्यै जगतां पतये नमो नमो रुद्राय तथा विने क्षेत्राणां पतये नमो नमः सूतायाहंत्याय वनानां पतये नमो नमो रोहिताय सपतये वृक्षाणां पतये नमो नमो मन्त्रिणे वाणिजाय कक्षाणां पतये नमो नमो भुवन्तये वारिवस्कृताय औषधीनां पतये नमो नमः उच्चैर्घोषाय क्रन्दयते पत्तीनां पतये नमो नमः कृत्स्नवीताय धावते सत्त्वनां पतये नमः नमः सहमानाय निव्याधिन आव्याधिनीनां पतये नमो नमः ककुभाय निषङ्गिणे सेनानां पतये नमो नमो निषङ्गिनयुषधिमते तस्कराणां पतये नमो नमो वञ्चते परिवञ्चते स्थायूनां पतये नमो नमो निचेरवे परिचरायारण्यानां पतये नमो नमः श्रुकाभिभ्यो जिह्वागुंसभ्यो मुष्णतां पतये नमो नमो सिमभ्यो नत्रञ्चरभ्यः प्रकुण्डानां पतये नमो नमः उष्णीषिणे गिरिचराय कुलुञ्चानां पतये नमो नमः इषुमभ्यो धन्वादिभ्यश्च वो नमो नमः आतन्वानेभ्यः प्रतिदधानेभ्यश्च वो नमो नमः आयच्छद्भ्यो विसृजद्भ्यश्च वो नमो नमोऽस्यभ्यो विद्यद्भ्यश्च वो नमो नमः आशीनेभ्यश्च यानेभ्यश्च वो नमो नमः स्वपद्भ्यो जाग्रद्भ्यश्च वो